Hey, what's up guys? I wanted to make a video for those of us that actually liked Exorcist Believer, and I wanted to give you guys some recommendations of movies that you might want to check out if you did indeed like that film. So, all three of us can come together that like the Exorcist Believer and watch some movies that are kind of similar to that. And I'm a big fan of the exorcism genre. I know that's probably one of the most least favorite among the whole horror genres or subgenres out there, but I'm a sucker for it. I really think that the whole exorcism religious horror aspect in horror has so much potential when it comes to stuff that they can explore and history that they can go into. Because if you really think about it, no matter what you think about or feel about a religion, it's kind of like a fantasy story pretty much with like demons and God and angels and all that stuff. It just makes for good horror movies. So here are a few films that I think that you might like if you liked Exorcist Believer. Let's get into it. 2021's The Unholy. A hearing impaired girl is visited by the Virgin Mary and can suddenly hear, speak, and heal the sick. As people flock to witness her miracles, terrifying events unfold. But are they the work of the Virgin Mary or something much more sinister? Now, I did do a review for this movie way back in 2021. It feels so long ago. So if you wanted to go check that out, you can go over here and check that out. I actually really like this film. And again, just like Exorcist Believer, I'm one of the few that actually like The Unholy. Yes, is it very formulaic? Is it very repetitive? Have we seen this stuff before? Yes, we totally have. But it has Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and he's doing his best impersonation of, the supernatural dad. So what can he not like about that? And of course, they have practical effects in here when it comes to the demonic force that is in this movie. And I think that the final act, though cheesy as hell, is great because it is cheesy as hell. Don't take this movie too seriously if you go into watching it. It's a good popcorn flick. So if you're in the mood for an exorcism religious horror film that is a step above a straight to VOD horror film, this one might be one for you. 2023's The Pope's Exorcist. Gabriel Amorth is the Vatican's leading exorcist, and he investigates a possession of a child and uncovers a conspiracy that the Vatican has tried to keep secret. Now, when this movie came out, when they showed the trailers, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this one. But I love this subgenre so much that I had to take a chance. It has Russell Crowe. It looks like he's having fun. That accent is questionable, but we're here for it. And after watching this film, it has all the elements that I want from these exorcism films. It has really fun and interesting characters and a wacky, crazy exorcism. And it helps that the CGI in this film isn't totally terrible, because we've had some movies lately that the CGI in horror films, it's not so good. And this is another exorcism film that is based really loosely off of a true story. So, there's that intrigue in it if you want to look into the real life story of that this movie is based off of. There's that, so added more material. The Conjuring Franchise. Now, there is a couple of films in this franchise that I think you should check out if you're a fan of this genre, and that is Conjuring 1 and 2, of course, but also Annabelle Creation and the most recent one that came out in the Conjuring universe, The Nun 2. Now, I know before you start screaming at me in the comments, I really enjoyed The Nun 2. I think Valak as a character really needed and deserved a good standalone movie. And I think that this one that we got, The Nun 2, is serviceable. It kind of gets wacky at the third act and the ending, the climactic ending. But I kind of like that because, I like bats, guys. I like the movie Bats. So I didn't mind that aspect of the film. But the first two Conjuring films is the ones that I think you should start with, because those two are masterpieces, in my opinion, when it comes to the exorcism genre. I can watch those movies back to back anytime of the season. Christmas time, put on Conjuring 2, baby. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention and talk about Annabelle Creation, which I think is still underrated, though it's an older film in the franchise and was one of the first spin-offs. Like Annabelle, there was a first movie, and then Annabelle Creation is a second movie, though it's a prequel to the first one. It's really weird when they started this universe. But that movie is really, really good in my opinion. There's a lot of jump scares in it, so if you're not into jump scares, probably don't check it out. But if you're a fan of this genre, you're used to that stuff. 2022's pray for the devil. A nun prepares to perform an exorcism and comes face to face with a demonic force with mysterious ties to her past. Another film like Unholy, where I think that it's actually pretty good, even though people didn't really like it. We have our lead character who is a nun who in this universe or time era, she is forbidden for performing exorcisms or even learning about it. But then she gets help from one of the head priestess there to oversee an exorcist and learn about that stuff. But ultimately, as the movie goes on, it comes to find out that she has some ties to this most recent acts of exorcism, and she gotta, do her warrior nunness. Man, I really wish that show panned out well. But if you don't take things too seriously and you just want to have a good time and watch something that isn't that scary, then I think this one is a one that you got to go check out. It's pretty fun, guys. But of course, guys, don't forget to let me know what exorcism movies that you think should be recommended if you like The Exorcist Believer. Because I'm sure there's a couple of you out there that like that movie that want to see more similar stuff because you can't wait for the sequel, Exorcist Disbeliever. Who is coming up with these titles? But as always, guys, thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers. I know I say it all the time, but it's almost coming reality. We're getting slowly there. So I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. It really helps out a lot and I'll be really appreciated. I just want to grow this community of people that just want to talk, shoot the shit, just talk about movies and bad movies apparently. But as always, guys, keep watching movies.